I'm Chris.
And I'm Rachel.
And we are out and about in Simcoe County. Today we are at Dickey Bee Honey, and we are going to learn all about bees.
And we're standing in amongst the bees right now. And have you been stung yet?
Not yet.
No.
It's early yet.
It is early.
We'll see how it goes. We've got to learn about bees, why they're so important, what problems they're facing. So you know what? Let's go find Peter Dickey and learn about bees.
Sounds good.
We're here at the beehive with Peter Dickey, and this is Dickey Bee Honey. So, Peter, tell me, what are we going to do today?
Today we're going to explore some hives and teach the people what's in there and how their honey's made and where it comes from. We're going to look at some pollen, hopefully find a queen bee, and just talk about some issues with our bees.
And because bees are facing some serious problems right now.
Yeah, we've had quite a decline in our bee populations over the last 3 or 4 years now. So hopefully we can turn that around and stop that.
And that's not just issues here in Ontario, that's worldwide.
Seems
bees are
to be
facing a problem.
worldwide, yes.
So we're going to be discussing some of the common factors
common
that may be
denominator
related to this.
that might be causing that. So.
All right, you see where we're leading up to? Maybe we're going to discuss this and then you can discuss it with other people and we'll get the ball rolling and maybe we'll be able to get this thing fixed.
So I'll pull that up.
This is now the business section of the beehive.
And there's quite a few bees on the inner cover. We'll just set that off to the side. And now I'm going to run my hands over here. So these are very well-bred bees. If they fly up at you or they're running around a little crazy, it's probably don't want to breed from that colony.
Okay.
So they're gentle.
So you can actually breed for temperament.
Yep.
And personality as well.
Definitely.
Guess you don't want rabies.
No rabies in the hive. So what we're going to do, we're going to start over on the far side. And we're going to remove this frame. So right now on this frame is just an empty frame. These bees were quite young. There's a new queen in here, so they're building up.
Now, did you make this, or this is actually the honeycomb that they produce?
They produce this, so I would put a frame of, this frame empty, just has this imprint on it, but it's just all plastic.
So that's a basic framework for where the honeycomb is going to go.
Yep.
But in the wild, they wouldn't have that, so they
No.
would still produce this.
Yes. They would still produce that hexagon.
Which is a very stable structure in nature.
Yep.
Several animals use that. All right. Now, is this the normal size for a honeybee?
Yep, it is. This one looks like quite a young bee, possibly. It's not, I think there's a bigger ones here.
And this is all from this season, so they've got a
Yes.
difference in growth rates just from the last few months. When did you
Yep.
start, when did they start moving this spring?
They usually start, the queen will start laying in middle of January. She'll start laying eggs to start building the hive up, but usually by the middle of April, they're out, they're bringing in pollen, all the elders are out, the maple trees are out, so that's their first flux of pollen. Then their big influx of nectar is dandelions.
Oh, okay.
So the beekeepers just love to see the dandelions. So that is just all nectar. You see it glistening in there? So that's a honey flow is on now.
So now they're making double time.
Now they're going hard, yeah. So that is all nectar.
And how long before the first time you can start emptying this out?
Usually the first pull is in the middle of July on a normal year. We're behind 2 weeks this year, so it's going to be August. Then we'll pull, I usually pull the long weekend in September. I leave it all on because it's a big job. It's a big process to extract and take it off, and so I just leave it all on until September, then I take it off. Another frame of honey. Now this is capped over. So they brought this honey down to the right moisture content and they've capped it. The right moisture content means it won't ferment. So if it's too high in moisture, it'll go bad.
Oh, so they basically protect their own honey stores.
Yeah. So they bring that down by fanning. These little yellow dots in here are actually pollen. I'm not sure if you can see that. We'll probably find another good pollen frame.
And there's a fair amount of bees on this, but it doesn't sound really loud. Oddly enough, in movies when they're trying to scare people from bees, the bees appear giant and you hear loud buzzing all the time. There's, how many bees would you say is in this one now?
I would think there's, you know, there's 20,000, 25,000.
And it doesn't interfere with our conversation or anything?
No.
And you've never seen bees just randomly attack?
Very rare, very rare. We don't have the Africanized bees up here like they do down in Florida, California. So when they do find them, they eradicate them. They don't want them, so they kill them.
Because of their particularly aggressive behaviors?
Yeah, yeah. I can go through a row of hives, and when I lift the cover and hear a roar, like they light up, first thing I'm looking for, this thing's got no queen. So noise is very important when you're going through the hives. When you listen, you can go, okay, that's too noisy. Why is that noisy? So I'll look for a queen. I necessarily don't look for a queen. All I do is look for eggs.
So no eggs, no queen?
No eggs, no queen. Put the sun to your back. It's a lot easier. So you can look down in those frames. See all the white larvae?
Oh, all right, yeah.
That's all little babies. And this is cap brood. These are babies that are being incubated right now. They're larvae. So they've capped them over. They're in the pupa stage.
So they go from
Egg,
nothing,
yeah.
from the egg to that larva to capped over.
Larvae, yeah. And I'm gonna see, maybe egg will be on the outside. There'll just be a little fleck of white. Like sometimes it's very hard to see.
Some of them look very different. Like for example,
Some of them are different, you're right.
this one is very different from these ones.
This looks like an older bee. See the wings?
Yeah. they have a
This
little bit
thing's
of
ready
white on
to
them.
be die. That bee's gonna die soon. So the bee only lives for 30 days. That's the worker bee's life. Then it dies.
From the time it comes out of the egg sac
Egg,
and the larva.
yeah. From egg to death is about 30 days. Drones are about 45 days.
We're in here, and we're going to be looking for the queen. So we'll be right back.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I like it.
We're back with Peter at Dickey Bee Honey, and now we're going to be combing the hive for the queen.
So this is looking more like a queen frame to me. There's a couple more cups that they thought they'd raise a queen cell, but they just abandoned it. So maybe a cell's been raised somewhere else in the hive, and they didn't need those. Again, this is just full of white in there. Those are all young larvae, going to be capped over soon.
So how many generations would you have from the start of the season to the end? Because they're not really producing anything before January, right?
Well,
And you've got eggs that would hatch out in you have 30 days?
it's a 30-day, I guess, cycle, would it be?
Yeah.
So she'll fill this frame of eggs and larvae, and I guess 30 days, well, no, they hatch out in 21 days. So they're hatched out,
Okay.
and then they work for a couple weeks, and then it's over.
But
16,
there's always more on the go
she's always laying.
to replace them. And,
So-
but she doesn't start laying until January?
That's when she'll start laying again from shutting down in the fall. So it's usually 16 days for a queen. I believe it 21 1 for a worker and 24 for a drone.
So it's an assembly line of bees and busy bees. This is where the expression comes from. You can actually really see it happening.
Busy as bees. There's my queen right there.
Oh, she's much bigger and a different color too.
Different color too. So that is not a carnelian. Carnelian would be totally black. So it could be a breed of a buckfast carnelian mix. Again, if it goes out and gets, all depends what eggs that was raised off of. So if there was a mixed queen that was breeding before.
I'd have expected her to be waving slowly.
Where's the hand, eh? You do this with the hand. And I have not found any drones in here. So what? She'll lay drones. That's the queen's job too. She'll lay drones because it's all about survival. So you need males to mate with the queen.
How do they keep inbreeding from happening?
They really don't. So unless you introduce a new strain, say I'll buy bees from another queens from another breeder that breeds for certain traits, as in gentleness, good honey producers. So if you keep bees year after year after year, yes, you do run that challenge. This thing here looks like he's trying to do a waggle dance. He was doing something there.
Spreading the good news about all the flowers.
Where to go?
There it is. How many different types of bees do we have in Ontario?
I think usually, well, honeybees, there's usually about 4 that are prominent there. Say the Italian, buckfast, Russian, and carnelian. So those are the 4 strains of bees that we have here in Ontario, basically.
What's the big difference between bumblebees and honeybees?
Bumblebees just float around and look really goofy, I think. So they bump into things and they really don't bother anyone.
And they're much
So
bigger.
They're a lot bigger. There would be, 5 times as big as that little honeybee maybe.
Oh, okay.
So we found the queen, so we're going to put her back. Maybe we'll have one more look if anybody can find her. See how she disappears? She may have crawled to the other side. I don't think so. Again, she may have her abdomen in a cell laying an egg. So why don't we flip this over, because I don't see her. I didn't think she crossed the other side. There she is at the top in the middle. All right, put your finger there, Chris. Yeah. So she did cross over.
Now, so these go right through?
No, they only go to the base of the plastic.
So when she goes over, she'd come over to the top or the side?
She'll usually go around the top of the side. So we'll put her back in here.
And when you're looking at a whole group of bees, the queen doesn't stick out as much as you would think.
No, you don't. Exactly. Sometimes it's hard to find them.
There's actually a lot of things that you can do with bees and with honey that have medicinal properties.
Yes,
right?
there is.
And I have a really bad cold right now, and I also suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. So we're going to do something super fun, and we're going to sting me with a couple of bees.
If you're up for it, I think they can do it for you.
I am totally up for it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 2 bees. How many? 3 bees, maybe? 5?
Let's start with 1.
Okay.
All right, I
Here
got
we go.
him. Okay, leave him in there. Leave him on there. Wait till he pulls out, and leave the stinger in there.
Oh, poor guy.
Sorry. Let him, just leave him alone.
This hurts you a lot more
All
than it
right,
hurts me.
now we leave that stinger
Wow.
in there. It's still pumping.
That really hurts. I want you all to know that this is teeny, but it hurts. And it's like
Pumping, you can feel it. Yep.
like it.
Because that venom sac still pumps
I can
after.
feel that right through my wrist, like from the top to the bottom.
When we get back to the honey house, we should take a measurement on it.
We should.
See if it goes up or down.
This is absolutely incredible right now. This is so incredibly painful. I've never allowed a bee to just hang out and sting me and then like not tear it out.
Think you'll do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, let's do it.
Can't be that bad.
Actually, it isn't. It feels like almost like electricity. You know, if you have one of those Thames machines on your joints, like a lot of people use those things.
So in here is pollen. So when you buy pollen, you can eat pollen for, these guys will just fly away.
Not really.
They don't
know
have
it's
their
raining.
they don't have their flying wings
Now-
on. They're a little lazy.
This isn't just powdered honey.
No, this is
Okay.
bee pollen. So
All right,
you eat
so-
bee pollen for build up your immune system to allergies. It's full of vitamins, 22 amino acids. The only food you can actually
try a little
yeah
bit?
help yourself. It's the only actual food you can live on is bee pollen. So
Yes, honey is like the perfect food. Bees make the perfect food.
they sure do. So I collect this and I'll put it through a cleaner and sell it.
That's really good.
It's not bad, eh?
Yeah.
And there's all different kinds. There'll be purple, there'll be black, there'll be bright yellow pollen.
Yep.
All different pollens that the bees will collect.
We're back from the hives, and Peter, there were 1 million bees out there. Do you get used to it? I forgot that there were even bees out there.
I don't even see bees anymore.
Nice. It was incredible. Like, we did the count, and you said 1 million bees out there.
We're thinking that's 50,000 bees in a hive, maybe 20 hives out there. So I'm thinking that's the right number. But you know,
And they're all out there for this.
they're out there for this purpose only, to give us some beautiful honey that we can eat. All the nutrients in there. So if you're not feeling very well, you should be eating honey for sure. Local, unpasteurized. Beekeeping really hasn't changed in 100 years. You know, we have different problems we're dealing with now, and but the actual bees, they've been doing the same thing for thousands of years.
Yeah, they didn't notice the changes, except now you've got colony collapse disorder. What is that about?
We have a situation, not like the States. The States have that CCD, colony collapse disorder. We don't per se have that up here. We're finding the loss of bees really started about 2007 when a pesticide was put on the corn seed and soybean seed, a neonicotinoid. It's a dusting they put on the seed. It's an insecticide. We're having a lot of problems with that now.
And that's used by farmers all over the country?
That is spread pretty well throughout Ontario, yes. It is also out west on the canola, but we seem to have more problems with it here.
Now, haven't some countries banned it already?
Yes, Europe has banned it. There's been a few countries that have stopped using it. And you know what? The bees have rebounded within 2 years. They've started to flourish again.
Well, and when you'd have such a short lifespan of 30 days, it wouldn't take long once you took away the problem for them to come back, as long as they had a base.
Exactly.
And you guys are maintaining a base.
Yes, as long as you have a base to start with, they will just take right off again.
Now, are these pesticides used in Ontario?
Yes, they are.
Is there a government program to try and stop it, or are they studying it?
We've been with the OBA now, Ontario Beekeepers Association.
Okay.
I started a movement last year to try and get this pesticide off the corn. It looks like as of yesterday, we've heard positive news that they're going to at least restrict it. They may not get rid of it, but there needs to be a warranted use to be able to use it. So right now it's on all the corn seed. You can get untreated seed, but it's very hard to get. Yeah?
So it's very effective, but it's also very destructive.
Very destructive to bees, butterflies, earthworms. The problem they're having, you know, they invented this insecticide and they're using it, but they found it's getting bound up in the soil. It's not, it's water soluble, but it's not dissolving like they thought it would.
Oh, so it stays year after year after year, and people still apply it every year?
Again, it's supposed to break down, but they said one planting of a neonic can last up to 16 years. And that's, the government have done studies, and that's what they're coming out with.
And I have heard about it in other countries where they've gone through banning and whatnot, and they've done studies as well. Why is it taking so long, do you think, for governments to get on board?
You know, you need scientific proof. So I guess Canada has finally started the scientific proof. I have 2 years of scientific proof now with my bees.
Okay.
I got hit last year. I got the results back last winter. Sure enough, the neonics were in the dead bees. I had 3 yards hit this year. So I had the PMRA come out and the bee inspector did their samples. I'm 100% positive it's going to come back neonics again. So now this is the 3rd year of our scientific proof. So now it looks like something's going to be done.
And that's an Ontario government representative that comes out?
Yeah.
Now, are they working with the Canadian government, the federal government as well?
Yes.
So all they have to do is get all their ducks in a row.
Ducks in a row and get all the people
and
together.
then make a decision.
Find a solution.
Is it used just because it's a cheaper pesticide? What's the use for it?
You know, it's used because it's probably the safest one out there. You know,
Oh, so it's the safest and it's causing all these problems.
Exactly. So that the farmers, you don't see them out spraying insecticide anymore. It's coated on the seed. So it's more beneficial for the farmer. Obviously, it's not for the environment anymore. But I know once you spray a product on something, it's dried, it doesn't dislodge. So the neonics we're putting up with, we have 2 times it seems to be bothering us, maybe 3. The corn planting, the dust is blowing around.
Oh, so it's in the dust and it moves downfield. So even if you're not growing anything in your field, like you don't grow anything here on yours, it comes over from other people.
From other areas, so it could float for a half a mile. So that's the one problem. That's where we really noticed the bee damage. Again, they say in July, when the heavy rains come, all the water runs to the end of the field in the heavy rainstorms. That water is polluted with the neonics. The bees go for a drink, and they basically don't make it back to the hive.
So it gets into our watershed and everything. So it would go into our water as well?
Well, there's studies that have been done that say it is everywhere. So the third thing we're finding, the bees aren't building up because the force field, the field bees, aren't making it back with nectar. So they're struggling. There's always bees in there, but they don't flourish like they should. So we had a very low honey crop last year. You know, we're not sure why that is yet. Did the field bees not make it back to bring the nectar in? Was it environmental? Was it weather conditions? But a lot of bees were lost this winter, over 45%.
Ouch. And what is your average loss over a year? Like, what would you consider normal?
You know, funny thing, the normal thing should be 10 to 15%.
Okay.
And then I believe I saw on a news report, we think we found the other 30% loss. It's in the neonics. So, you know, we've had 2 years of 45%. Now it's just all starting to add up. We've got 30% neonic caused and our regular 10 to 15%.
I found the propolis. This is supposed to help. So we'll go find Rachel, see how everything's going, and I'll show her this. Rach.
Yeah.
I've got this.
I have some too. You know what? I'm just looking to see how I'm supposed to use this because I want to use the proper amount of propolis.
Of course you do. How's the wrist?
You know what? It's pretty swollen. It's much more swollen than it was before, but it actually feels kind of good. It's a weird feeling.
All right, well.
It doesn't look pretty, does it?
It looks like you got stung by a bee.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? I'm used to it being painful, but right now it's just kind of numb. There's kind of a weird feeling. I like it.
Great, we found the new painkiller. People are going to be doing bees all the time now. Nice. All right, well, I had a good visit with Peter.
That was amazing. I learned so much. I had no idea what propolis was.
And Rachel may be out here every day just getting her bee fix. This was another fascinating episode of Out and About. We learned so much. Hope you guys did too.